Chapter 9. Into the Sunrise. Condima leaned hard against the heavy brass screw that held the port window shut. It swung slowly back, and she pulled the round window open. The fresh breath of the late darkness swept her face as she leaned out, resting both arms on the cool copper of the window's smooth, wide flange. The eastern horizon blushed with the faintest pink of dawn. She looked down at the water. The splash of innumerable small wavelets against the dark hull of the ship created an illusion of tremendous speed. The stars still lingered in the morning sky, but close at hand the mountainous island of Gaia looked dark and mysterious. "We are almost there," Condima mused to herself. She counted on her fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has been 6 days since Uncle put me on this boat. Now I am almost home. Now I will see Thorn and his children. I will show them all the beautiful things the people at the hospital gave me. I will see Sandoli. How her eyes will shine when I tell her about all the people in Singapore and all the strange things I saw there. The mist closed in and shut out the rosy promise of dawn. The land and the stars disappeared, but Condima knew that just beyond Gaia Island lay Jesselton Wharf. Just a few minutes from now the Densum would drop her anchor off the jetty. Condima still clung to the open porthole, straining her eye to catch a glimpse of something familiar, something that would assure her that the long journey had ended. "Tomorrow I will go home to my village." She clasped both hands and leaned her chin on them. "I will need a big bohangan to carry all my things. How Mooket's eyes will pop when he sees my Ellen baby." She drew her head in and lifted the doll from her place under the red blanket. "I will always love you, my little Ellen, but I will love my other baby doll too. I will love you both the same. It is love that makes people the same." Condima pondered over this new thought for a long time. Was it not love that made all the children of equal importance at the Thorn's house? Was it not love for all manner of people, both good and bad, that made everyone the same in God's sight? So love for her two dollies would make them of equal value, the beautiful one and the ugly one. "I will call my other dolly Intan, because Intan means treasure, and then Mooket will know that my beautiful doll from the great city has not made me forget my first baby doll." The ship moved slower and slower. Then it stopped altogether. The throb of the engines quieted, and the anchor chain rattled. Condima knew that the ship lay at rest to await the break of the day, which drew on with wavings of light through the purple mist. She snuggled under her blanket and hugged her Ellen doll for a few minutes, but she felt wide awake. Who would sleep on such an important morning? Then she heard the noise of the winches as the Denson drew alongside the wharf and made fast her cables. Then she scrambled out of her berth, opened her travel case, and drew out her rosebud pajamas. Surely no other clothes would be suitable for this morning of joy and welcome. All her other things had been packed in the case and the large parcel which stood inside the cabin door. Uncle had wrapped and roped the luggage, but Condima had not touched it since the ship had left Singapore. Now she began to tug and pull at it with all of her strength. How, oh how could she get that traveling case and that large parcel out onto the deck? She opened her door and looked out. "Well, little lady, so it's you again." A friendly sailor stopped and looked into her face. "So it's you. You?" He stroked his chin and seemed to be in deep thought. "Ah, yes. I remember now where I saw you. Thought that face looked familiar. What have they done to that awful-looking eye of yours?" Condima backed into the cabin. "Is this traveling case and this great bundle your baggage?" he asked. Condima nodded. "How are you going to take it off the ship?" "Here, coolie." He motioned to a Chinese coming down the narrow hallway. "Take this parcel out for the little missy. Be quick, too. I think someone is waiting for her on the wharf." The sailor picked up Condima's traveling case and, taking her by the hand, ascended to the salon deck, from whence a ladder ran down to the wharf. Condima caught a quick look out over the ship's rail. There, on the wharf, stood Thorn with Nancy and Madge. The sailor caught Condima up in his strong arms and raced down the ladder like a monkey. "Here, my friend," the sailor spoke to Thorn. "This young lady gave me one of the biggest frights of my life on our trip about 4 months ago. I see she is all well and beautiful again, and it gives me great pleasure to turn her over bag and baggage. She has given me 3 lovely smiles, and I will accept them in payment for the awful scare that she gave me." The Thorn laughed and looked down at Condima with a warm light in his gray eyes. He cupped her chin in his hands and turned her face up to his. "Those Singapore friends have certainly fed you well. You are fresh and plump as the day rose in our garden. The eye is perfect, but the smile is the same. None sweeter in the Borneo mountains." Madge and Nancy danced around with joy. They had recognized the rosebud pajamas, and Nancy bubbled over with happiness and pride. They took hold of Condima's hands and started to lead her away. But no, she stopped short and pulled away from the girls. "My package must come with me." The Thorn's eyes opened in surprise. Both Nancy and Madge squealed in astonishment. "Does this parcel really belong to you?" Thorn asked. "Yes, of course." Condima ran to the big bundle and laid hold of it. She felt at that moment that she could carry it home by herself. "These are the gifts the kind people at the hospital gave me." A wave from the friendly sailor on deck assured Thorn, and he told the coolie to carry the package to the red bus waiting at the end of the pier. They all followed, and the red bus whisked them up the hill to the house of children. June and Benny, Peter and Jimmy, Sandoli and Sabriel, they all ran out to welcome the dear wanderer back again. Condima felt the cozy warmth of the great house, and its huge family enfolded her like a soft garment. "Oh, what a nice new eye!" Sandoli clasped her hands as she always did when she prayed. "Uncle, Condima is pretty now," June said as she tugged at one of Thorn's hands. "Daddy, Daddy, why does the little girl wear her pajamas in the daytime?" Benny grabbed Thorn around the leg. "She likes them best of all of her clothes," Nancy said with pride. So Condima came back to the house of children. The little ones danced about in such happy spirits, and the rejoicing became so general that Thorn declared a feast to celebrate Condima's homecoming and the wonderful healing that had come to her in Singapore. Auntie Sandola and Madge made ready a delicious meal of red rice, curry, fried bananas, and several kinds of vegetables. Benny and Nancy begged permission to eat the feast out of doors, so it turned out to be a joyous picnic under the trees. After everyone had eaten all he could and the girls had washed the dishes, Kandima said, "Now I am going to show you all my Singapore gifts." Tuan set the heavy bundle in the middle of the veranda and cut the heavy cords. Kandima, with the help of several eager hands, removed the outside wrappings and revealed 2 large cartons. Each contained a number of boxes and bundles. Kandima flew at them and opened them as fast as she could. Picture books, big and little, thick and thin, fell out, also games of many kinds. One box held a wonderful little set of dishes, another a whole fleet of small buses, motor cars, trucks, and trams. Kandima laughed at these. "Do you remember how the red bus scared me when I first came out of the jungle?" Several boxes were sealed, and the pictures on the outside showed that they held delicious sweet biscuits. "I learned to eat these in the house of sickness," Kandima told the circle of children. "Mukit and Elijah and Chaya never saw such food. I guess they will be surprised." "Yes, I think they will." Tuan looked a little bewildered by all this sudden wealth that had been showered on this little girl, Kandima. A family of teddy bears came up from the depths of the carton, together with an elephant, a duck on wheels, and a whole menagerie of small glass and china animals packed in cotton. Kandima could name every animal. "Now I will show you my new baby." Kandima opened her traveling case and drew out the dolly. "Her name is Ellen." She looked at Tuan. "She is good and beautiful, and I love her and take good care of her." She cuddled the doll in her arms while all the children crowded around to touch Ellen's dark curls and rosy cheeks. "You may play with all my things." Kandima still snuggled the doll in her arms, but she nodded generously toward the whole assortment of toys on the veranda floor. "No, no," the Tuan spoke with sudden decision and started packing all the toys back in the cartons. "No, these must all be put back at once. You children have plenty of toys, and there will be many little folks back in Duran village who will enjoy these things. I hope," he spoke to Kandima, "that you will be kind and generous with them too." After Tuan had packed all the toys in their boxes and tied up all the bundles neatly, he went back to his office. Benny and Jimmy invited all the little girls to come out and see their pet monkey ride their dog like a jockey rides a racehorse. Captain, the large black and white dog, loved children and monkeys. Pixie, the tiny black monkey, sat on the dog's back, holding tight to his long hair while Captain raced back and forth on the large cement sidewalk with the monkey screaming and hissing like an experienced rider. The children laughed until they could laugh no more. "Look," Benny pointed down where the walk ended at the curve of Signal Hill. "Look, here comes Teacher Dodd." Sure enough, the teacher from Kandima's mountain village came striding up the hill. His face relaxed into broad smiles as he came up to the group of children and recognized Kandima. "I hardly knew you. How you have changed. Of course your smile is the same, and of course I expected you to be here." The teacher took her by the hand and looked at her with happiness shining out of his kind face. "Your eye looks as good as it ever did, and you are so fat and rosy your mother won't even know you." The children followed Teacher Dodd into Tuan's office. The missionary looked up from his papers in surprise and laid everything aside to talk with the visitor from the Durand village. "I am glad to see Kandima here," the teacher began. "Her mother is anxious about her. She has been away over 4 moons already, and the heathen people in the village are saying that she will never come back any more." He looked at Kandima with a satisfied smile and added, "I am sure that when they see her they will forget all the long time of waiting for joy that she is well again." Then the 2 men talked for a long time about affairs in the Durand village. All the news interested Kandima, who leaned against Tuan's knee and listened eagerly. Old Kukut needed more rubbing medicine. The heavy rains had made his bones ache more than usual. Gulan and his wife came to listen to the Jesus teaching every day now, but they still keep the largest herd of pigs in the village. "Is my mother well?" Kandima looked up into Teacher Dodd's face. "Of course, my child. I should have told you at once. Your mother is well, and a new baby brother is waiting for you back in the village. You will see him tomorrow." The teacher patted Kandima's head. "You will like your new brother. Chaya is a good girl. She can cook and pound rice and work in the rice field just like a grown woman. Banny is a big fellow. He talks a lot and runs around the village on his short little fat legs. Kandima, will you go home with Teacher Dodd tomorrow?" Benny asked with grave interest. Kandima must hurry home as quickly as possible. Tuan lifted her to his knee. "We have kept her too long already, but someday she will come back, and perhaps we will have a school where lots of boys and girls from the mountains can come and learn many useful things."